picks very briefly before we go into the game. Let me get this to you. Do you want the number, or are you able to get the link from Skype?
I can get the number. It doesn't matter.
It's 7374.
All right.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell them ready just to start the game whenever.
Okay. Yeah, that's
But
totally
quickly
fine.
talk about the draft here. Pretty standard bans, it looks like. Zagara is constantly banned out, especially against up and coming teams. She's just a really great comfort pick. Not only the vision, but her very easy to use sustained damage as well as the power of Maw is great. But just running through Micro God's composition: Jaina, Diablo, Abathur, Greymane, Malfurion. It is Infernal Shrine, so Abathur does have that value on a bigger map. I personally am not a fan of Solo Warrior Diablo. I feel like it falls off pretty hard in the current meta. If Diablo is good, but I feel like you do need to run him with a second warrior. And I'm also not a big fan of Malfurion as a healer as well. He is, especially versus Falstad right now, and heroes like Thrall. It is so easy to isolate a Malfurion or just completely displace them, so their Tranquility gets no value.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. And then also Falsa is going to be a soft counter to some extent over the Abathur at this point in time. And Ohio State HOTS has an insane amount of wave clear when it comes to their comp over the Infernal Shrine. So that's going to be really relevant on how well that plays out here in this game and who's going to be able to get those punishers and push on their team. Just looking at the draft, who do you have to give it to?
I definitely have to give this to, let me click back on it, Ohio State HOTS. I mean, just like looking at the raw power of it, Rhaegar, Kael'thas. Kael'thas with the nerfs is still very good, though, and Falstad. Those three are such good power picks. And the only good power pick on the end of Micro Gods, I would say, is Jaina. So just looking at the composition. And Joanna's still in a very great place as well. Leoric falling out, but he is solid in the double warrior lineup. So I think I have to give it to Ohio State.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. The double warrior comp with that much wave clear feels like its room for error is much larger. Like they can make a lot of mistakes and still have a pretty successful team fight, whereas their opponents seem very all in. And if it isn't efficient on that all in, they're going to have a really bad time in these sustained team fights, especially with Greymane being their only sustained damage dealer of any kind. Even though he doesn't necessarily excel at the sustained damage dealer, he's just far better than everybody else at sustained damage. That's why I call it that. But here we are going to move into game number one. On the left hand side, I don't know if I have these teams properly lined up.
Micro Gods.
Micro Gods. There we go. We do on the left hand side. We're going to have Micro Gods. We're going to have Azuka, we're going to have Jaddy is going to be on the Malfurion. Godzilla is going to be on the Jaina. Vikarek is going to be on the Greymane. We're going to have Physics on the... Can't even see that hero
Abathur.
At this point. Abathur, there you go. And Tuka is going to be on that Dibbles.
And on the other side of the map, it's going to be Ohio State HOTS. Falstad played by Azuka. Rhaegar played by Webjams. Leoric played by Heli. Kael'thas played by K-Jax. And, of course, Joanna being played by Katori.
Apparently, I messed up my observer and it broke already in this game, so the talents are not going to show up. Even though I tested that before this.
Who needs talents?
I literally tested that right before this, and it still doesn't matter. But the 5-man rotation in the mid lane from Ohio State, getting that wave clear advantage, abusing that as best they can. They just have such a good wave clear composition that they're going to be able to get such a big lead over their opponents for small situations like that. So it's going to be really awesome to see how well they abuse that later in the game.
Well, let's see how the rotations go. I mean, you talked about it in the draft. You talked about the wave clear on the end of Ohio State HOTS. And, that's very important on this map when it comes to contesting those shrines. I mean, I think Kael'thas is one of the better heroes when it just comes to just lobbing in flame strikes onto the point. You can secure so many of them. And you mix that with Joanna's Condemn. Knight's Take Palm does not affect the shrine minions anymore, but clumping them up for Kael'thas so we can get those easy money flame strikes makes it really easy for Ohio State HOTS to potentially control these points.
Absolutely, and we see them. Even though the wave clear does definitely sit in favor of Ohio State's HOTS here, we are going to see that they do struggle a little bit when it comes to. They have better wave clear over their opponents, but they do not have kill potential. Whereas the Jaina provides that kill potential and that all in we were talking about in the draft. If we see Micro Gods manage to get a really good flip root combo into the Jaina, I do fear that they might end up losing a hero there and maybe be able to take away this early Punisher.
Well, we do see that contention is happening. Heli taking a lot of damage. Has to pop that Wraithlock pretty early. Will the roots be there in time? It is, but he just barely gets around it. Nice try to and catch that from Jaddy. I don't know if they would have been able to secure the kill, but the follow-up was definitely there. Level 4 almost picked up here for both of these teams as we're getting close to fighting in the mid. But wow, there goes Tuka going straight onto Joanna. Iron Skin has been popped, but it doesn't seem to matter. He's going to fall very quickly. First blood. going on over to the Micro Gods.
And that is a really big advantage considering the fact that they have an Abathur. The longer this map objective takes to capture, the more value that Abathur will get. Falstad burnt his flight as well, so he's going to have a little bit before he'll be able to fly up there and try and get a kill on them. So that was exactly what Micro Gods needs with their comp, with their lack of wave clear. They need those early kill potential. They need to try and soak with the Abathur and get a huge XP lead over their opponents because they definitely do struggle when it comes to the wave clear.
Well, they are moving on to this point and getting most of these so far. Flip goes down onto Heli, but he's Leoric. He'll be just fine. Katori coming from the top gets the Condemn down. A lot of people clumped up here. Tuka going to be the first to fall in this fight. Jetty trying to get away, but another Condemn is there to follow up. Nice job from Katori to re-displace him. That's going to be 2 kills going quickly over to Ohio State Hots. Still 11 more needed on the end of Micro Gods to be able to secure themselves as Punisher. Verkaric is doing a good job of trying to poke these down. Godzilla coming up for a Blizzard combo to try and secure those last minions, but I have a feeling this is going to go to Ohio State Hots. Godzilla actually going really deep with Verkaric here. This might be a mistake. He does not have escape right now. He's trying to run back, and he will be able to survive for now. And they're slowly starting to get this. They need 2 more minions. Can Micro Gods end up getting it? 2 more down. It's such a close race. 39 to 37. 1 more, and it does end up going over to Ohio State Hots, and they get the kill on the Greymane.
That was honestly a really good turnaround there. Just a little bit of an overextension. Ohio State Hots takes a complete advantage of the situation and securing with their massive wave clear this Punisher in their favor. That was really well done. Abathur, in the meanwhile, ended up not soaking a lane for the later half of that, so they didn't gain too much of an XP advantage on the half of Micro Gods, which is what they need in the early game of this composition. Punisher pushing on the lower half of the map, but not going to be able to make that much happen. And honestly, I'm surprised how far behind Micro Gods after getting that really good pick in the situation they had with that Abathur, that they haven't gotten a bigger lead over their opponents.
Take a look at the talents here, Dreadnaught. As I know you cannot see them on your end, we're going to be seeing Condemn build coming out from Joanna, and we saw its value in that last fight. The level 4 talent, Eternal Retaliation. When you land a Condemn, the more targets you hit, it reduces the cooldown. And you saw 2 Condemns used very quickly there to not only displace members, but to re-catch that Malfurion. And then, of course, Cleanse picked up at 7 for Rhaegar to help deal with the CC from the Diablo. And the most important thing, of course, is going to be the Mind build coming out from Abathur this game. And then, of course, Gathering Power picked up on Kael'thas.
Yeah. No, wow, Rhaegar getting a little bit out of position there, and this is perfect timing to get this kill. As long as nobody dies on the half of Micro Gods, they're going to be in a situation to where Rhaegar might be dead during the spawn. No, the spawn is going to happen quite yet. I thought it was, so they're going to get a little bit of an advantage here with that early pick. That's exactly what they need. But look in the upper half, oh, Physics instantly looking to get that XP up there to ensure his team doesn't fall behind, and then Hatting on bottom to ensure the XP there. Really well done on his part. His team is behind a little bit of XP because they're even though they're even in kills. That's definitely not the sign of that you like to see when you are on the Abathur on your team, but they definitely have a chance to make the comeback into this game. Oh, Kael'thas.
Oh, wow. Nice body block coming from Tuka. They do secure themselves a kill. That's going to be 4 kills of 3 in favor of the Micro Gods. I know people are always going to be asking questions. It's going to be Earth Shield build from Rhaegar, as well as the standard auto attack build coming out from Falstad with Seasoned Marksman, Power Throw, and Secret Weapon. So no different talents just yet in the game. It was a Loon's Grace on Malfurion for the extra range, because with Diablo's combo, he dives in so far with that Shadow Charge that, you know, the extra range on the Malfurion roots can be easier followed up upon for the flip.
Absolutely. And we're seeing a situation where the race to 10 is going to be on. Keep in mind, with the minor bust of Jaina in the last patch, her clone might be even more threatening in the early half of this map if he does decide to go with that evolution here. But both teams not choosing to soak, looking to aggress and make the early rotation instead, even though we have 3 people inside of Ohio State. Haas is going to be on the mid lane. Abathur is going to be soaking that up, and the race to 10 is going to be so close here, Zoya.
Yeah, it looks like it might go over to Micro Gods just slightly. I'll give you guys a heads up on what heroics are picked up there. And the Shrine is spawning in the top side here. It's so close. Abathur, of course, with the advantage, being able to soak mid lane with his body at the same time. But the aggressive position picked up here from Ohio State Hots. They're already forcing them back here in the bottom. But now level 10 has been picked up. It's going to be Tranquility on the Malfurion, Ultimate Evolution on Abathur, Apocalypse on Diablo, Water Elemental on Jaina, and Go for the Throat on Greymane. As Iron Skin is popped here, a good Condemn comes up. Tranquility popped very early in the fight, and the Zukai gets very low. Rhaegar trying to keep him alive. Ancestral used really late there, but somehow Falstad did not end up going down. Katari trying to get behind the wall. Leoric is going to be the first to fall in this fight, and a great fight there coming out from Micro Gods. I think the moment that Tranquility was popped, Ohio State Hot should have immediately backed out and reset. Absolutely.
They were so close to the gate that they easily could have walked away from that team fight, but instead decided to take it burnt. Mighty Gust and still barely Rhaegar and survived there. And keep in mind that engagement happened. Oh, APOC coming out here. Rhaegar Rhaegar's in a bad position. The huge blitz is going to hit here. I don't know if it's going to come out. Pyroblast is going to secure the kill. Meanwhile, Greymane goes in to try and get it go for the throat, but Godzilla might lose his life as well. This is a 1-for-1 situation here. The re-engage is going to go, honestly, in favor of Ohio State's Hots here, managing to turn the situation around.
Really well done by them, perfectly executed. I mean, you have to take into account your opponent's abilities and the cooldowns on them. Tranquility 100-second cooldown. They knew that with the changes to Malfurion that he would be very easily they'd be able to force the fight very easily without having to take too much damage, as Tranquility was not way going to be a backup. Heli getting very, very low here, going to be able to keep himself alive. They still don't have their Rhaegar back with them, as well as the Greymane is rotating over, and it's still a very even race right now. 18-15, now 18-18 for both these teams. Are trying to get on top of this. Katori goes in for a double condemn. Takuda getting a little bit of damage applied on, but there is the Abathur clone going down onto Jaina there. They immediately annihilate the Leoric. He falls almost instantly. Katori gets hit with a big Ancestral. Azukai moving out of the blizzard. Another huge condemn coming out from Katori. They just keep clumping up for these, and that's doing so much damage with the Living Bomb and Flame Strikes coming out here. Jetty gets very low. The Living Bomb is going to go up, but not going to be able to secure that kill, and a nice turnaround kill onto Fodsad from Godzilla. He's looking to re-engage this fight as Jaddy and Vakaric have both tapped well.
Yeah, this is a really rough situation. The sustained fight here is going to go in favor of Ohio State just because of that Leoric over and over again. But these fights being taken with the Abathur clone coming in, the double Jaina damage. There's the secure go for the throat's going to ensure that kill. He might overextend a little bit over here. Greymane, though, going to have a rough time. The root's going to come out and he will survive. They are going to be able to back out and get this because of the kill advantage and the XP. Keep in mind, almost 13 tier advantage over their opponents. That Abathur giving him a great amount of value there. But really, a lot of that I feel like came down to just the double Jaina. The amount of damage that, and the minute the Abathur clone hits with another one, it feels like it's really hard for Ohio State to take this team fight.
We do see that level 13, pretty big advantage here for Micro Gods. They're trying to clear this up. Mighty Gust used to isolate the team so they could focus on this Punisher uncontested. And that's going to clean it up. Usually with the first Punishers, again, you only see that front wall go down. So a nice defense coming out here for Ohio State Hots. Joanna in the bottom lane going to be soaking up that experience, just trying to tie up the experience. And taking a look at these level 13 talents, it's going to be the Firestorm talent on Diablo. It's going to be the Locust talents picked up on the Abathur. It's going to be Life Seed on Malfurion just to help with that AoE healing to help deal with the Kael'thas, and then it's going to be Ice Block on Jaina, of course.
Oh, and this invade is going to be a little bit too slow there, but they are going to still engage. Falstad getting a little bit of a rough position. Jaina's not able to get the slow. They're going to be able to walk away from this. They do have 13 tier advantage over their opponents. Abathur's trying to soak as best he can. Keep in mind, Abathur is going for that split push here at 13 and 16. Once he hits 16, his power spike is definitely going to be showing as he's going to be able to get that split siege as best he can. But honestly, I've been impressed with the Greymane here. The amount of damage output he's been able to do is pretty darn impressive.
Well, yeah, I mean, Greymane can really get those numbers up, especially if left uncontested. A lot of times he goes to that backline and just no one ends up dealing with him. He can easily pick off someone like Kael'thas, especially pre-Arcane Barrier. Take a look at level 13,000. Nothing out of the ordinary. Everything standard on the end of the Ohio State Hots team. We'll be seeing Giant Killer on Falstad for the extra burst damage for the Diablo. And that's one of the main problems with that solo warrior Diablo is that when he shadow charges in, if the Gravity Lapse is there from KJax, Azukai can do so much damage while he's isolated from the rest of his team, so far pushed forward, and you can really just chunk down a Diablo very quickly.
Yeah, I definitely like that setup also with the comp here. The double Jaina coming in with the slows for Greymane, but also the large amount of bursts to provide for go for the throat opportunities. So I really like that. 16 tier most likely going to be picked up for Micro Gods before the map objective, before they decide to worry about this Immortal Rhaegar trying to soak on the upper half, but it's honestly just not going to be enough. This is really risky. Ohio State needs to just back out and be willing to take soak, but they're going to risk the engage here.
Yeah, but Katora getting very, very low. Already popping Iris, and Apocalypse has been used, and he's going to immediately get annihilated there. Falstad just gets just completely destroyed. That's going to be the death of Joanna as well. Heli trying to back out. Pegasus trying to get out as well. He gets solo. Ancestral has to be used from a 3-for-0 exchange in favor of Micro Gods. I mean, it was just way too low for the position. Rhaegar was too far away to keep anyone alive there, and that was just a very destructive fight.
Yeah, it was definitely really valued there. I bet we can see Physics is going to rotate to the upper half of the map and get a split push up there now. Indeed, he is going to do that. Kael'thas now roaming up there, maybe to try and get a pick on him. It's going to happen. He opens up with it, automatically predicting the rotation of the Abathur there. And he's going to get the kill. I love
Wow.
that. Really well done. That was honestly very impressive from the kill toss there, but it's not going to be that impactful, honestly, when it comes to this game. Realistically, they're just going to be able to get the Punisher here. They have 16 tier advantage over their opponents, and they're going to be able to get this map objective, push as hard as they can. The clone will be up in 25 seconds, so as long as they don't risk a fight during this time, which it looks like they might, really aggressive rotation here, Zoia.
Yeah, this is a pretty big invade here. They almost catch off the Kael'thas here. They do end up pushing into bottom. Falstad and Heli have to be very, very careful. Arcane Punisher is pushing in this fort. It's immediately going to go down. Still about a quarter of a level to go until the Ohio State HOTS team has level 16, and they really want to get that before they end up fighting this push here. Punisher is moving in. Should only be able to get the front wall as it does leap over the wall, and you can see how fast it melts. Early game Punishers do not survive long in these sieging situations. But Abathur clone popped very early here by Visix. Going to be on the Jaina yet again, and they're going to be looking to force this front wall down. I don't know if that Abathur clone was needed. I think they should just go for the front wall and completely back out, and that's what it looks like what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, they do end up walking away from that situation. Definitely a little bit of miscommunication. I 100% agree with you when it comes to the decision of burning the clone there with only almost no advantage at that point in time with a pretty weak sieging composition. So they do walk away, making the smart call there. They are going to be down in ult. I would like to see the engagement from Ohio State. There it is. Johanna moving in. Just because the clone's down, they should force.
Yep, Iron Skin has been popped very early, though. Condemn not going to follow up on anyone. He's taking a lot of damage from this water elemental, actually, and he might end up going down, mainly because of Ancestral does not end up connecting. You cannot leave an uncontested water elemental just swinging at you. Focus it down as fast as you can. Pyroblast goes down. It's on the Carrick in the back, doing so much damage. Apocalypse used, and that's going to be the death of Heli as well. What a great forced engagement coming out from Microgods. They secure 3 kills for nothing, and they might end up getting Azuki. No, they're trying to turn this around. The Root catches Rhaegar. Is there any follow-up from the rest of the team? Godzilla looking for the slow. He does connect with the Frostbolt, but not going to be able to get that kill. And now a 2-level lead, 3-level lead out of nowhere for Microgods.
Yeah, and that was just a situation where the Ohio State made the smart decision, understanding that without the Diablo cone that they have a much weaker team fight, and they were on the same talent tier. It was the first chance they were going to be able to take a team fight where they could actually make a comeback and a tempo swing in this game, but they don't end up getting it because they end up Johanna falling a little bit too early with the miss Ancestral as well. Leads them into a situation where they're essentially fighting a 4 versus 5, and they aren't able to win that team fight. So now the map snowballed heavily in the favor of Microgods. They've been playing this phenomenally this entire game, but now it's going to be a very hard game to be coming back from if you're Ohio State, largely because of the composition that you see from Microgods. They're in a situation to where Abathur split push, and with a 20 advantage, they either answer to the map objective and leave the fight there, or they don't, or they answer to a different lane where all these mercs are pushing, and then Abathur's also helping. It's just so much siege potential coming in the near future, and so much engaged potential as well. It's just a hard situation if you're Ohio State.
Yeah, really, really good job coming out from these guys. I mean, the rotations have been on point, and they're just about to secure them 20 Storm Towns. As Zukai does get caught, gets shadow charged by Tuka. The flip is there, and that's a dead bird for 50 seconds. He's out of the fight. Heli gets annihilated out of nowhere. He couldn't even get 2 feet with that Wraith Lock. That just shows you the amount of raw damage coming out from this composition, and now they're looking to punish here in the mid lane. Joanna's extremely overextended. The Abathur clone is here. The Iron Skin pops so early, going to get hit by the roots. Sitting in a full blizzard. Web Jams does end up connecting with the Ancestral this time. He is not going to go down, but now level 20 has been picked up. The Storm Talents are there. We have 2 Bolt of the Storms on Diablo and Jaina. Actually 3 on Malfurion as well. It's going to be the Hunter's Blunderbuss picked up on Greymane, and of course Locust next on Abathur.
Yeah, and this is a situation where with their 20 advantage, they aren't even worried about the Punisher. With the 2-man down, they're looking to siege up again. Their weak siege composition is a little bit difficult there. The Mercs are going to ensure that they get 1 turret there. Now they're going to say, okay, we're going to back out. We got a little bit of free damage. Awesome. And now we're going to concentrate on the map objective. Locking this in, this Punisher, if they work and engage with it, I'd like to see them time the clone with the map objective here and try and force the minute that the gate goes down on this upper half of the map, make something happen. But Physics getting a little cocky with it here.
Yeah.
The Werb kind of taunting them on the upper half of the map there.
Trying to bait him, man. We've seen it happen in the past in competitive games where just, an Abathur being aggressive. Like, a Faye from Cognitive Gaming is known for doing this, just showing herself in lane, trying to get, those teams that are unaware of the map. Actually, Physics, no, this is a little too much showboating. You can't go that ham with your positioning. Completely derailing the point, but that's a dead Abathur for 60 seconds, Red.
Yeah, and that's the worst case scenario there too. They're going to be down a man while they have the map objective pushing, so if they're able to turn a fight here, but it looks like the false head positioning. Oh, the cleanse from Web Jams keeps him alive. That was absolutely filthy. Really well done there. This is still a risky position though if you are Ohio State.
Well, a big leap going down onto Azukai. Mighty Gust has to be used, and there's just so much burst damage coming out from Vakaric. Wow, Greymane really showing his value right now, keeping up with Jaina, 2,000 damage behind her. That just shows you how much damage this hero can do, because Jaina was buffed in this patch too, and he's keeping up with her. A big leap coming from the Punisher there, a lot of damage going down onto his front line. Heli has to tap well, getting healed up by the Rhaegar as well. Condemn coming out, Punisher still doing work here. Abathur up in 15 seconds, and the freeze is actually doing a lot here, and they get the collapse onto Liork. He's going to fall. Shadow Charge flip goes on the Katori. No Iron Skin was up, not up, so he did end up falling as well. That's 2 warriors down for 50 seconds, and with Abathur just about the rest, Pyroblast coming in, it is on the Diablo, so he should be just fine.
Yeah, it's going to be on him. The Trank being popped in that situation, maybe a little bit too panicked there, but they do walk away with the keep advantage. Honestly, only getting a keep for the 3-level lead that they had over their opponents, now letting them almost risk getting to 20 here, depending on the rotations. Oh man, Kael'thas is trying to figure out if he wants to do it. Does make the smart choice there, but only getting 1 keep in this type of situation does feel like they haven't capitalized on their lead quite as much as they needed to. Maybe a little bit with the cockiness from Physics there on the Abathur play, but again, Micro Gods have been playing this game really well, but they have a huge lead over their opponents, and it's really going to be hard for them to lose this game. Forcing the fights whenever they can. Their lack of siege has stopped them from able to get keeps here while they have had people down and 20 advantage. But as long as they keep forcing fights, that's what their comp is very good at. And as long as they do that, I think that they'll be able to walk away with this game still. A lot of it's going to come down to how well the Rhaegar can play. I feel like his Ancestrals have definitely been very late for the most part, which have led to a couple of deaths that have set his team behind.
Yeah, Essential's been late, as well as the Mighty Gust have been a bit off of point. It's mainly been used to save a member, never been used to help yourself out in the team fight. A lot of times Mighty Gust is seen used as an isolation tool or as a way to force the enemy team into a position that they don't want to be in. And, every time that Falstad seems to be using it is just when he's getting caught out of position. But Tuka going in for the bolt flip. He does get it on the Apocalypse onto Kael'thas, but the focus fire is onto Katori instead. A little bit of a misplay coming out from Micro Gods as Abathur clone has been used on Jaina. Heli taking a lot of damage. He's trying to reposition himself, taking so much. The Ancestral has to be used there. Another flip Shadow Charge goes onto Falstad. He gets the barrel rolled out. Nice Storm Shield coming out from Web Gem. The mid keep is being sieged down very quickly. Diablo does end up falling, but he does have the souls. He'll be back up into this fight very soon. But a nice catch there onto JTY. He's going to fall there. Vakaric goes in deep for Web Gems. A bit of a mistake there because he's going to fall for this as well. Only Godzilla survives.
That was a huge turnaround there for Ohio State. The overextension there without the Tranquility. I believe it was still on cooldown from the last time he used it as a panic. Try and save Diablo, but yes, the split push siege from the Abathur here is just so hard to deal with. This is what we were talking about. When he gets to the later half of the map, his siege potential is just insane. They do end up getting half of it there, and it's just a colossal tempo swing for Ohio State, but they aren't capitalizing on it quite yet. They need to be getting the map objective as soon as they can here. They only have an advantage for 35 seconds, and that's going to be long enough now for Micro Gods to most likely be able to contest this Punisher, which, keep in mind, is still only threatening a fort because of how far behind they are. Abathur's going to be looking to get this keep on the lower half of the map, so now they're losing a keep, and they're going to be not getting the map objective totally uncontested. It depends how fast they spawn. They might be able to get in time, but Kael'thas onto Physics.
Oh, he's going to go for it there, Dread. He's trying to get the burn. Gravity Lapse, no, too slow, but the minion was there anyway. If he would have traded his Gravity Lapse, it might have been able to catch both of them. And of course, showing you that he did get gathering power at level 4, so not having the increased speed. And this is just such a tough situation to be in. They did win that fight, like you said, but when all of your lanes are pushing so hard, you have Mercs pushing top lane, you had Mercs pushing mid, and then Abathur pushing bottom. It's so hard to live. Kagax has to end up using the Boulder Storm to get away from Diablo. Tuka very extended here. The Punisher was picked up by the Ohio State HOTS team, but I don't think it matters, Dread. The core is being sieged by mercenaries, and the blue team is in such a great position. They've taken down 2 keeps, and that mid keep is basically free money.
Yeah, this is a worst case scenario. They just captured the map objective but are pretty much letting it die. That's a situation where they have to force as hard as they can. Even if their core is going to take a little bit of damage, we need to see Ohio State make something happen here. If you play patient into an Abathur with this big of a lead, with this many structures over you, you're essentially going to lose the game no matter what. You got to just, at this point in time, they need to push out the waves like they have on top. They've pushed Falstad out on top a little bit, pushed bottom wave a little bit, and then look to force a fight somewhere out in the open to where they can not get pushed in completely by the Abathur and then be able to make something happen after that point in time. So anytime they get a free win like that on the map objective, I think if they sit back like they just did, even though they lost a keep, they're going to lose more. But High getting caught out here at the Wraithwalk canceled early, and he still is going to survive.
Yeah, they weren't there as a full team, so they weren't really willing to commit to that. This is a stage of the game that if you do misplay, if you do, all it takes is one mistake, and you have a 65-second death timer. You're not going to be rejoining the game anytime soon. So that they're not willing to overextend for that. They're willing to play the smart game here. They're just painting the map blue. They've gotten every single mercenary camp here, and this pressure is going to be pretty big coming out from Micro Gods, as Godzilla looking for a flank here, might be trying to catch a Zukai out of position. He roams into the jungle. They see him right on top of him. He has to reposition himself. A big blizzard goes down. Katori getting low. Iron Skin popped very early in this fight, but they get Jody low, and that's going to be a very early tranquility. No ice block to keep himself alive, though, and this could be huge for Micro Gods, or excuse me, High State Hosting. They take down Tuka as well, and he does not have enough souls to res. That's 60 seconds without Malfurion and Diablo. Katori getting very low to the blizzard. Rhaegar not keeping him alive. It's so low. And there, his level 20 has been proc, so he is not going to end up going down. Ancestral Healing is still up, so he could end up using that onto Katori, but he's going to go ahead and go back. But they have to respawn. Like, what can you do with this window when you have mercenaries pushing both of your lanes and catapults just constantly sieging you down?
You have to send at least 1 to 2 back and then try and capitalize somewhere else. They're in a situation where, again, here we go. CJX, Abathur is going to barely burrow out there. Physics knowing that he's going to be hunted down there because of the sight of the minion waves. Honestly, they just need to force something somewhere after getting those small wins like that, even if it's over like sieging just a fort. Because at this point, without having even a single fort down on their opponent's side of the map, every single win they are essentially gaining nothing from. Honestly, at this point, if this is how this game is going to be played out, Micro Gods can keep throwing themselves at the opponent, and as long as they don't lose a massive Punisher or they threaten the core, there's just nothing that Ohio State's going to do. They just play very passive with these small wins. It is a risky situation, but honestly, they're desperate when it comes to their comp at this time. They just don't have what it takes to be able to deal with this, and so now both teams going to be on even footing, looking to rotate up to this half of the to the objective. But look, Abathur split pushing on mid, going to ensure a third keep.
Yep, that's going to be it's a situation that's so hard to come back from, even with the map. If this was a different map, maybe like Dragonshire, where the Dragonite is so impactful when it comes to sieging, you can make comebacks from the situation. But on this map, when you don't have a single fort, it's so tough. And yeah, it looks like they're looking to push into court. Really, actually interesting decision making here. A little bit of indecision. That was definitely a situation I saw where that was 100% game, and they're turning around and moving to the top.
I think what they expected is their opponents to back and fake them out here, not realizing their opponents didn't back at all. They didn't commit to that fake hard enough, so they got nothing out of it. But it wasn't the worst decision there. I actually kind of like it. Huge APOC coming in here, though.
Ballside taking a lot of damage there and immediately gets taken down by Vakaric. Katori so extended there, caught name too. Nice heals coming out from this Tranquility. Finally, we saw the money chain bomb that's been needed this entire game, but the Tranquility completely preventing all that damage. Webb is just barely going to stay alive. You can't leave Rhaegar uncontested, guys, in the current meta. No way. You need to kill him as fast as possible. He ends up falling there. That's 60 seconds with 3 members down. Helly's going to fall as well. And Dread, I believe that's going to be game.
That's going to be GG. They're going to just rush into the core here. That was really well done on their part, walking with some of the decisions that they made in that game, especially winning that team fight there. A huge apox this game from Tuka, left and right, ensuring the ability to lock down his opponents and one-shot them, essentially. Pyroblast going to come out. Godzilla at the ice block. Got him. There it is. And then, because he's going to lose his life here. The confidence from that Jaina, you knew he had something in mind. I didn't know. Most players don't have that confidence in their blink by standing still. They'll move into it and then blink away. But really well done there. They do end up securing the kill, or the core there. And honestly, that was a rough game to watch. A lot of it felt like it came down to, it wasn't even really who had the better comp or even a comp error at all. It just, a lot of it seems like it came down to the fact that Ohio State was not able to make the rotations nearly as well as their opponents. Micro Gods made, like, by the end of that game, falling that far behind to an Abathur composition is very difficult, keep in mind. But then the rotations made...
on stream, by the way.
Rip. Okay, yeah. All right. Hold on.
I agree. The rotation and decision making from Micro Gods was very, very good. My one criticism would mainly be on talent choices, mainly coming up from Malfurion. I can understand why you would want to go Life Seed, but especially versus Pyroblast, it was insanely greedy to not go Ice Block, and he was punished once for it. And one team fight, he was killed at the very start of it and got no value out of his Tranquility. That's the one fight that Micro Gods truly lost in that game, and that could have cost them the game because of it. Not going Ice Block there was a little bit too greedy, but overall, again, I agree, Micro Gods played very, very well.
Yeah, they definitely did, and they ended up I mean, pretty much dominating that game. I do 100% agree with you. I've done this rant many times on my own stream how I feel about anything other than Ice Block at 13 in 99% of situations. So I agree with you there. And then he ends up getting punished in that one team fight, and that's where we saw that minor tempo swing. But
Yes.
ultimately, there was nothing to be gained from it just because the pressure from the Abathur and the Merc control, they were just so far behind at that point in the game that there's almost nothing you can do, right? Like it's just there's the only answer to that type of situation is you send one person back to your base, you have them wave clear and make sure that you don't lose the game at that point, and then you force a fort. By forcing that fort, it allows the next win that you get, you can try to make something even more happen where you threaten to keep, and then your opponent's in a situation where finally they have to answer to your push rather than you constantly answering to theirs. But they just were never able to really totally understand. Even then, it's a very hard way to play it, but it's like it's one of those things you have to do, and it's like one of the downsides of facing a just far ahead of you Abathur composition. But ultimately, Ohio State's Hots wasn't able to figure it out quite in time, even though they did play pretty well with their comp and the wave clear that they had. But they're going to end up going down, and I believe game number 2 is going to be Micro Gods versus Gale Force Esports.
Yep. That'll be the game we're hopping into next. Do we do commercial breaks here? Because if so, we're going to throw to one real quick.
We don't do commercial breaks really, but we do miniature breaks while we just get some water, get a little bit of downtime, and try and make
Let's
sure we
do
get this
that kind
bracket.
of break. We're going to do a quick break, guys. When we get back, we'll have Gale Force Esports going up against Micro Gods in the Divergent Gaming